everyone, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. We're very excited to come at you with another video. We hope you're listening with us and you just like to watch us talk about hockey and listen to us talk about hockey. So we appreciate you guys watching our videos, and let us know in the comments if you are looking forward to seeing anything in the future. So today we're going to talk about... No, just hockey. We're going to talk about Mathias Brome and Albin Grewe, and we're going to talk about how they've been doing with the Grand Rapids Griffins and with the Detroit Red Wings for Brome, because Grewe hasn't been with the Red Wings yet. So both these guys are from Sweden, and they had been playing in Swedish leagues, and this season has been really up and down, so of course we all understand that everybody's trying to still get their legs under them, and I think in a lot of ways, a lot of people have already, everything's normaling out, so we're all really excited about that.
Normaling is a word.
It is a word.
You guys learn new stuff every day.
We're going to talk about these two guys and kind of where we see them going in the future.
So Mathias Brome, left wing, right wing, very versatile. He started off his season in Sweden. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. I'm going to butcher it, and I'm sorry for any Swedes. You can look it up. So he had 20 points in 23 games played. Really good production over in Sweden. And he was on loan with the team he was with, and I'll put all that information below in the description too, as well as the videos we've previously done about these two gents. So 20 points, 23 games. He gets moved over to Detroit. He spent most of his time with the taxi squad. So the minutes that he did get, he had 24 registered games played in 1 point. The minutes that he did get, he was typically a third or fourth liner, special team situation, but he's a very versatile player, so those minutes that he did register, he was working his butt off. So that 1 point I don't think is indicative of how much effort he was putting in. So recently, in the last week or two, they've moved him to Grand Rapids. So in the last 2 games played, by the time you watch this, might be a few more, he's had 2 points already. So consistent production both in Sweden and in Grand Rapids, and I would venture to say in Detroit as well. Maybe not on the score sheet, but other types of production. So far, he's been a very good acquisition to bring to Detroit as well as Grand Rapids.
Yeah, so a couple things about his just play style, and I think this goes into what Rachel was saying about just because he's got 1 point, 24 games played with Grand Rapids or with Detroit, and then 2 points in 2 games played with Grand Rapids. I think a lot of this can be just working into feeling comfortable, just because it was kind of a, oh, here you are and you're going to start. But I think that because they're professional athletes, these guys are groomed to be okay with this because they're on loan to a lot of teams. They're used to a lot of moving around. So getting in this comfort zone of one team is going to be really good for Brome, I think. So the 1 game in 24 games played, or 1 goal in 24 games played, is going to really go toward, I think, his confidence, if anything. And it doesn't speak to his ability, his playability, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on the ice that might not be a point, but it still leads to a lot of good opportunities, and it leads to just hard working on the ice is very important in a player, even if you don't see it right away in the points. So he's a fast skater. He's very opportunistic, and I believe we've said both of these things about these guys that we're talking about, just because those are very obvious things. If you see a workhorse on the ice, it's super obvious. You can just, it's very clear. And these two guys are that. And I think that he's really well adjusted so far. And I don't think he's missed a beat. And I think that just being with the Grand Rapids team, they're a very close-knit team. So I think that that's going to be great for him going forward as well.
The environment, I think, in Grand Rapids really it's really not, I don't want to say inclusive because I think that word is overused these days, but at the same time, I think they are that way where if there's a new guy, there's always going to be a group of guys in the leadership.
It's like a family.
Yeah, to come up alongside you and be like, all right, this is where you can fit. And in the most recent game, we have seen him pair with Tyler Hirose, which is a fun pairing to watch. You got 2 very fluid and fast skaters. It's crazy. You put Crisco on the ice, and then it's just like your eyes cannot keep up with it.
Yeah.
So he's been a really fun one to watch, so keep a lookout for him, especially in coming games. He's going to get a lot more ice time and a lot more responsibility. Albin Grewe, on the flip side, he's got a little bit different contractual agreement here.
Everyone was excited about Grewe.
Yes.
And that's because a lot of people see him as an agitator.
They just want to see fights.
But he has not been. See, something with us, we're like, yes, we're excited for him to come. We don't want someone who's going to unnecessarily instigate. And so far, we've not seen that, which has been fantastic because, I mean, it's 4 games in so far at the time of this video. It could change, but as long as it goes with the style and the tempo of the game, if you get what I'm saying, it's not just needless things to prove a point. He's not trying to go out there and get penalties because those aren't helpful. He's going to go out there. I mean, you stick up for your teammates. That's for sure something that he's going to do, but we'll go into that. just a tangent.
Just a sidebar.
Sorry.
So Grewe, he's a forward, drafted 2019, 66th overall. He's signed to an amateur tryout right now, which we touched on in the last video regarding amateur tryouts. It does not hit the Detroit salary cap as much as if it were a full-on entry-level contract. So right now he's listed as unsigned. So it's a great opportunity for him because he's kind of skipping over where he was supposed to be in order to do this. He was supposed to be with the Saginaw Spirit of the OHL this season. So with Detroit reaching, I guess, presenting the olive branch, if you will, saying, hey, this is your chance, he could skip over that other major junior development period, which is huge for him.
That would be massive.
It would just, I mean, huge confidence
be
booster.
massive for him and for the Red Wings.
For the team,
Griffins.
just to, because a lot of times in major juniors, they work their butts off and they do very well. It's very important. But if they have the capability of skipping that, it's like skipping a grade.
Right.
And to be able to mesh well with the team and still produce and do what he's got to do in lesser time, that speaks well to his
I was going to say, that
character.
just goes up to his developmental. So the one difference between Grewe and Brome is that Brome is pretty much in his play style. Like he's, I don't know really how the word to use, but he is playing as he will always play. Whereas
aggressive.
Gruve's in the developmental period still. He's recently drafted. He's working toward getting to the Red Wings, of course. So like Rachel said, to skip a step, if he will. Again, this season has been strange. So we don't know how much of this, like with amateur tryouts, if they're just going to go back to the OHL because he was supposed to be in the OHL, or if he will, if they see something special in him and he is able to be on the team and there's room for him on the team.
If he earns his place.
There's been a lot of moving pieces. I don't know if the season is one to, like, put your eggs in a basket, if you will, for, like, what's the future.
Who carries
like,
eggs
next
in baskets anyway?
Yeah, don't put eggs in a basket.
Stop.
So he is likely going to go back to the OHL. We would think in 21-22, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's room for him, that would be the one thing. If there's room for him with, the team coming, it's hard to know just because this last season has been so up in the air. But he, unlike Brome, he's a little more aggressive.
Chippy.
Yeah, a little more chippy. And that's what people were really excited to see because I do think that that's a good play style.
It is.
And I do think it's very helpful.
It kind of mixes well with, if you look at Donovan Sabrango, who's been with Grand Rapids, he kind of has a bit of an edgy style.
Someone who
too.
also basically skipped a grade because the OHL is not open right now.
Exactly. So they're not able to obviously develop.
So it's just been it's fantastic for these guys who have been able to.
It's making good of a really bad situation.
Right. I'm sure they're very thankful that they can play with the Griffins.
But it's going to be really cool as the games progress. There's not a lot left of the regular season, but even in a playoff environment too, because I do believe the Grand Rapids Griffins will make the playoffs. But
if they do playoffs,
depending
on the air,
right, and depending on how that format looks, there's going to be a lot of things changing. But I think his style. It's very McCarty-esque, just gritty, nasty, not finesse, but he's not a dirty skater necessarily, but just the way he plays is very chippy.
Yeah.
And it gets under the skin of his opponents, which is fantastic. Brome is very poised and deliberate.
I think that's a great,
Yeah, so it's going to be really cool to see these two guys, how this whole month goes, how the next couple months and couple weeks goes into the playoffs, and just to see what developmentally they both do, because they're both growing in different ways, and they both have different places on the team that they're looking to fill as far as what style of play they can represent. So it's going to be really cool to see how these two take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, take advantage. So that's what we think about these two guys. Let us know if you've seen them play at all, and if you have not, please watch some Griffins games while they're still going. Like we said, April's a very busy month.
Lots and lots this month
for home games. So if you're in the area, they are selling tickets. If you can watch online. That'd be great. But you can see both these guys in action. You can see what we're talking about.
We're not sponsored by AHL. We're sponsored by the love of the game.
We just love the game.
Just love it.
We hope you've had a great Easter weekend if you're watching it during that time. Even if not, we hope you had a great Easter weekend. And we will see you guys next time.